On to topic 3. So we kind of alluded to it in topic 2, but I kind of want to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, Jeff, I know you're doing it on your YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure you're past me. We're not going to talk spoilers too much, except for where I'm at. It might be like the anime thing. Like, we'll talk to where I'm at type thing.
Yes.
But my more focus, Chapter 7. Okay, yeah, you passed me. Good, because I just hit Chapter 5. My more focus of the topic was I was interested in knowing. It's not going to be a nice short way to kind of put this in a topic, but whatever. I wanted to know the experience people who have played the original on PlayStation 1, how are they experiencing the remake compared to someone who's pretty new at it. Like, I only played a few minutes of the other one. I don't even know, but I was a kid. I barely touched the surface with it. How our experiences are differing and like what you're getting out of it, because obviously what you're getting out of it, I can never have that, at least for this game, clearly. Whether it's goods, bads, whatever, because I don't have that prerequisite of, something to compare it to. So, just overall, how are you liking Remake, or how did you like Remake? What was your thoughts?
So yeah, I guess I'll start by saying I've finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
Kind of like I alluded to back in the second topic, Final Fantasy VII is what pushed me to get a PlayStation over a Sega Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
And I have dear memories of going to Family Video, renting a PlayStation and a copy of Final Fantasy VII, not knowing anything about memory cards. And bringing that game home and getting halfway through disc 2 without saving because you can't.
Right.
So like if I die, it's all over. There's no checkpoints. There's no nothing. You have a memory card to save your game, and if you don't have one, you start over.
Yikes.
Like that's context for where I started with all of this. And of course that Christmas, that was my big gift was, you got to open these two, but you got to open them in this order. And it's like, okay. So I opened the first one. Oh, it's a PlayStation. Open up the second one. Oh, it's Final Fantasy VII. This is the best. And I've been. So that's the funny thing. I opened those two presents at my grandma's house. That was my gift from Santa. Santa hit me up for those.
Nice.
Shout outs to Santa.
Woo.
So he got me the PlayStation and the Final Fantasy VII, and I went up to my mom and I'm like, Mom, this is a disaster. I don't have a memory card, and I'm gonna be right back in the same boat that I was when I rented it, but back in the summer. And she's like, we'll see, maybe he'll figure it out. And of course, then we go to my house for presents the next morning, and she's like, open this one first. And I'm like, it's a memory card. We've come full circle. I can save my game. It's gonna be great. So, like, I've been a Final Fantasy guy since I was in second or third grade. Like, I had an older friend who I went to his house and he was playing Final Fantasy 2 or 4.
Okay.
And I remember renting the game prior to that and being like, I don't know what's happening. This doesn't make sense to me. I'm too young for this. And then I went to his house and saw him playing it, and he's on the moon and he's fighting giant monsters, and his dudes are all decked out in this crazy armor and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is great. I have to figure this out. So from like literally that day forward, like that was the genesis of my love for JRPGs. Not even just Final Fantasy, but JRPGs. Because before that, it was like, I'm gonna play Blinks the Cat or Ristar, whatever, Super Mario. Those were my games. So I get Final Fantasy VII, played it like back in '97 when it came out. I think it was '97. Sounds right in my head. Loved it to death. I've played it several more times since then. So I just reference Ristar. Yeah, because Ristar was awesome. That game was so good. Um, so for me, you know, fast forward a few years, PlayStation 3 gets announced, and they're like, "This is the power of the PlayStation 3." And then they do the intro Midgar train sequence from Final Fantasy 7 rebuilt in PlayStation 3 CG and everything. And I'm just like, what if they actually remade this? This would be incredible. And then I watched that 1,000 times because I'm like, this looks perfect. You know, right from Cloud flipping off the top of the train and landing, and then he's got a sword, and I'm like, oh my god. You know, just like a wave of nostalgia just crashed over me when I saw that. But I'm like, they'll never do this.
Mhm.
This would be suicide if they actually made this. And then fast forward again to what was it, the Year of Dreams, E3 2017,
Something like that, yeah.
where they just like, you guys want Shenmue 3? We're giving you Shenmue 3. You want Final Fantasy 7 remake? Here's Final Fantasy. You want a rebuilt Shadow of the Colossus?
Mhm.
Here's you know, just anything that anyone's ever like in a hidden chat room on the dark web been like, but what if they made it? And then they're like, all right, we're doing it. So you see the same thing again. The cryptic talk, and you see the sword and the gun arm, and you're like, oh my god, they're actually doing it. And then they redo it again where he flips off the train and there's Cloud, and you're like, okay, they're actually remaking this game. And then even then, this is 2017. This is
Mhm.
3 years ago. Then there's years of speculation. Is okay, well, like, is this the whole game? Are they gonna? Is this a faithful remake? Like, what are they doing with this? Well, now we've got it. Final Fantasy VII remake. It's in people's houses. People are playing it right now. What I will say about it is, it was fantastic. Like every second of that game, not only was not only honored the original game, but elevated it in a lot of ways, which is high praise.
Mhm.
This is going to lead into a criticism at some point, but
Okay.
like they've taken all of the things, all of the important memories that I had from that game of, boy, I gotta think now. What can I
So
say?
chapter, okay, if I need to put in context, so chapter 5, we just got done with the mission where Jessie went into the warehouse, like we visited her
Okay.
parents, and then the whole
Yep.
warehouse situation, and we fought Roche,
Yep.
Roche. So we're on a train that next morning going to do the second bombing run.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Um. So this gave us this like all of these memories of jumping off the train, going to the reactor, and it just kept all of that so well preserved. Like everything was exactly how I thought it would be. And like there were little bits where it was different, but like if you think about like you can see where they are in the original Final Fantasy 7 if you really picture it in your mind's eye.
Mhm.
You're like, "Oh, okay, this is the analog to this thing, and this is the analog to this thing. It all has a place and it makes sense, and it was like a joy to play because the actual gameplay of everything is absolutely, it takes a little getting used to, but I think they did a really great job
Mhm.
with the actual gameplay of Final Fantasy 7. What is interesting are the moments where they chose to tweak.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give you a piece of I'm going to give you one thing that I can talk about
Okay.
where they've made a change.
Yeah.
It is right in the very first bombing run, right?
Is this the Sephiroth stuff? Because he doesn't show up in the original for like a while, right?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that, they use Sephiroth very differently in this game
Okay.
too, but that's
Something
we're
different.
gonna
Gotcha. Sorry.
yeah. So during the initial bombing
Uh
run,
huh.
you get to the reactor, you plant the bomb,
Yeah.
Scorpion tank drops down, you fight it, you kill it,
Yep.
and then you escape, right?
Yep.
So in original Final Fantasy 7, you turn the corner, you run down the little catwalk after you get out of the reactor, place goes up, right?
Yeah.
So you, Avalanche, blew up the reactor.
Okay, I see where you're going. Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake completely recontextualizes that.
Ah,
Your bomb doesn't do shit.
right.
Like, it is Shinra's doing that the reactor exploded to the magnitude that it did.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, like, all of a sudden, what went from you performed a heinous act of terrorism became you were just trying to cripple the machine. They blew it up.
Mm.
So, like, that's subtle, but it's important
Yeah.
because it shows that maybe your Avalanche isn't as fringe like terrorist as they were in the original game, but it also shows the lengths that Shinra will go
Right.
to really mess things up.
Yeah, see, I really like
Oh,
that story element because that was like
yeah.
just how like after when they see the aftermath, they're like, "Oh, fuck, we did this"
Yeah.
type thing, and how
And
like they feel bad, but they're like, "Man, we gotta
that's
stick to it." Like I was like, "Oh, all right."
like that's a whole thing. Like,
Hmm.
and Jesse makes a couple of references where she goes, "I don't think I used that much explosive."
Yeah, like she even says on the moment I just talked about where we're going to the warehouse, like she had to
Yeah.
up the dosage from what the thing said, the instructions or whatever. She's like, I used a higher
Yeah.
dose. Like I wasn't even supposed to use that much. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I was like, oh fuck.
Because it puts a lot of weight onto the actions of the characters,
Yeah,
for what they know.
right.
They think that they've done this horrible thing that's killed people.
Mm-hmm.
And like that adds a lot of weight onto the characters, which is interesting, on top of the fact that, you know, Shinra, from our perspective, because we know what's happening, of course, is just that much more evil. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they're pretty evil to begin with, but like showing some of the machinations in the background and the lengths they're willing to go to complete their ends makes them just feel so much seedier. And the way that the new graphics engine has kind of changed things too is so interesting to see, where like, because you can move the camera, you can look up, there's the plate, you can look down, there's this. Like, it adds this extra weight to everything that's happening, because like in the original, you always had more of a top-down view. You very rarely saw the plate above you,
Mm-hmm.
but now when you can look around, like, it just feels so much more oppressive. Like, just the the little details they went to really tell the story just felt so on the nose. I think they did such a great job with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the one thing so as much as I love the game, I love every part of it. I think it's great. But one little nitpick I'm gonna have is something I don't know if you and I talked about Kingdom Hearts 3
We have
100 years
not, but
ago.
I have finished it, so
Okay.
you're good to go.
Okay. I'm not gonna get anything
Yeah,
super
yeah.
specific with Kingdom Hearts 3, but Kingdom Hearts 3 was directed by Tetsuya Nomura, same guy that did Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yep.
Tetsuya Nomura has a really good eye for scale and uh like location, and he can write these really fantastic scenarios, but he is a terrible writer, like writer of story. So all of the things that are his touches feel like they're ripped straight out of Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Now, you have seen the ghost
Yes.
things,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So that doesn't exist in original 7.
Oh, okay.
That's not a thing.
Okay.
But like, if you look at it from my perspective, knowing that's not an original 7,
Uh-huh.
it looks like it's ripped straight out of Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Like, it feels like it doesn't fit. And they go through great lengths to explain what those are and why
Uh-huh.
they exist, and that I won't get into, of course, because
Right.
that would be super spoiler territory.
Uh-huh.
Um, they feel weird, and it's not because they don't. There's a lot of things they added into the game that fit. So like, uh, the all the stuff that happens with Jesse,
Yep.
like the mission to go to Jesse's house,
Mm-hmm.
then to go to the warehouse to get the bomb.
Yeah.
That's not Final Fantasy VII.
No.
That's all new.
Okay.
That crazy dude on the motorcycle,
Yeah.
Roach, not a real character from Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
But can you see where he feels Kingdom Heartsy? Because he's
Just
like
yeah.
he's fucking his motorcycle. He's dancing around the goddamn streets.
Yeah.
Okay. Like he
It's
doesn't
Organization
feel like
13.
yes, he feels like he's from Organization 13, and his Keyblade is his motorcycle.
Yeah.
But he also has sex with it. Like that's what I mean by like when there's something that's new to the story of Final Fantasy VII, it feels like Tetsuya Nomura's like, let's Kingdom Hearts this up just a little bit.
Gotcha.
And like, I don't particularly like that's too fantastical. Everything about Final Fantasy VII makes sense and is grounded in like a gritty, real world way.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like all of the analogs with Mako energy and it's draining the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that feels a lot like oil drilling. You know, there's an analog to it that makes sense. And everything about Final Fantasy VII I mean, short of the super fantastical stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
you have some of that, but like it all fits into place. And whenever he gets involved with something, it feels like it stops making as much sense.
Interesting. Okay.
I won't say that I hate it,
Mm-hmm. It's just different.
but it's different in a way that doesn't work as well.
Okay. Interesting.
That's where I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. Neat.
Like I'll be interested to hear when you finished it because the ending of Remake
Yeah.
is different.
Yeah, I hear there's some conversation talks, like I alluded
There,
to.
it's like the last hour and a half of that game is like, here's where things go off the rails, like in a weird way.
Gotcha. Because yeah, I alluded to the Max playing it, and I want to watch his playthrough. Apparently, he's got some big. He calls it big brain, like threads and like how he's trying to figure. Yeah, exactly, trying to figure something out. So I'm very interested to eventually, obviously, sit down and watch that. Just because, even if it's this big harebrained, like never gonna happen thing, I just like hearing when people pick up on these little things and. You know,
well, I could get into some weird shit if we were really getting into it,
right?
Because it
Gotcha.
it sends a very clear message to people who have and have not played Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
By the end of that game, there is a message that was written on tablets from the top of a mountain and hauled down by Charlton Heston, and that's what they say, and you're like, I gotcha. Tetsuya Nomura definitely went some places there. Did anyone else feel weird about stealing from her parents?
I only did when I saw her dad. Other than that, I was like, meh. So those moments, so going back to the differences sort of thing. Yeah.
Like moments like that where you go to Jesse's house. Her mom is this bubbly person, which totally fits with her character. Oh, I'm going to make y'all the pizza special or whatever. Yeah. The Midgar special. And she's like, you need to go to the back door. And then you're going to go in here. And my dad's going to be in there. And then you like see the context from being in the room of like, oh, he worked in a Mako facility and he has Mako poisoning and this is what it does to a person. Like Mako is bad. You know, like that worked. All of it. Every bit of that worked.
Yeah.
All of the character building they did for everybody in Avalanche, your Jesse, your Biggs, and your Wedge, they made those characters much, much more fleshed out, and like you
Cool.
just never got a sense of who those three were
Hmm.
in the original game.
Gotcha. Because like I like that we got Jesse's like backstory of why she's trying to do this type
Yeah,
thing.
like that's so cool because otherwise in Original 7, which I will tell you, when I finished Resident Evil 7 Remake, I said, well, I guess I'm going to go Platinum Resident Evil 7 now. So I downloaded Resident Evil, jeez, Final Fantasy 7.
Gotcha. Okay. It's all right.
Yeah, yeah, too many remakes and too many
Yep.
different franchises with the number 7. Um, After finishing Final Fantasy 7 Remake, I then said, well, I guess I'm going to go play Final Fantasy 7.
Hmm.
So I re-downloaded it, played through the whole game, got the Platinum Trophy, like just really went for it.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see after having just gotten out of 7 Remake being like, oh, this character actually existed in the other game. They just made him more prominent in Remake.
Mm.
Like that happened a couple times where I'm like, oh, here's a weird original character. Why is he here? What does he do? Only to find out when I replayed through 7, there's the guy. He's right there.
Gotcha. Okay.
He existed before. He just didn't matter.
Yeah.
Or was like a super throwaway character that like clearly didn't even stick with me because I didn't remember who it was at all.
Right.
So they did that a couple times, which I was pleasantly surprised
Okay.
about all of it. So I guess now I'm curious. I've talked a lot about Final Fantasy
Hey.
7, but how are you like? What are your feelings on things? Like, how are you approaching it, not having any sort of like connection to that original game? Because everything I did
Hmm.
was through a lens, and
Right.
there's no way it couldn't be.
Right.
So, like, I'm curious to know how you're seeing things
Hmm.
without context.
Yeah. So I've I only played a very, like I said, I grazed the surface with original. I had a friend lend me their copy, and I was already, PS2 was my first console. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
So when I played 7, I was like, I was a dumb kid. Oh, these are all polygonal crap. This looks like garbage. Blah. I didn't want to play it. So I don't know how far I really actually got into it. Like, I don't
Sure.
remember Bombing Run. I don't remember anything. I just remember running around as big bicep tricep Cloud, doing his thing. So I have
Just
no
clubs on his hands.
exactly. So I have no idea what story elements I actually hit upon. Um Obviously leading up to this, obviously like you mentioned the announcements and stuff, I was excited because I know a lot of people love this game, so I was just kind of like happy that, hey, you're getting your thing again, kind of thing.
You feed off it.
Exactly. And I've always enjoyed Cloud's look as a character. I think I
Sure.
like his Advent Children look a little bit more. Not that I ever saw that movie or anything. I was just like, oh, you look fucking dope. And then my only experience with him and his personality was Kingdom Hearts, like seeing him in 1, seeing him in 2, and how he acts. Same with Tifa, and seeing these other Final Fantasy characters in the world is like, oh, okay, this person's from this and that, and whatever.
Yep.
So leading up to the actual release, I hadn't played any of the demos. I was just kind of like, I'll watch trailers here and there. I'll be like, oh, okay, Red 13's a character. Cool, I know him a little bit. I've seen pictures, and obviously Barrett, knowing him with the gun and stuff like that. So I like very minimal I knew about story, what was going to happen. I heard about the demo at E3 and the first bombing run, so I knew what to expect there. Playing the game, so I think I downloaded it. It must have been that launch weekend. Like, it wasn't maybe day one, but it was at some point. I played for a few minutes because, like, I'll give it a try. Downloaded it. That opening scene you mentioned with the train, him jumping off, just how they pan through the city, like, this music doesn't even mean that much to me, but I still got some kind of like emotional, like, oh, this
Yep.
feels cool. Like, this is impactful. So the music got me right off the bat.
Yeah.
Just you flying into the city and the combat music. Like, I recognize that from,
I mean, that's iconic
yeah.
at this point.
I had played Final Fantasy X. Like, that was probably the most I played of a Final Fantasy besides Tactics, and I think it's a similar tune, if not the same, correct, in other Final Fantasies, the battle music, or no?
7 and 10 are pretty different.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I just had heard it before.
I mean, a lot of them have there's like a formula, especially in the early Final Fantasies. There was a very like there was the same baseline always through the original Final Fantasies.
Okay.
It's like that's how it always started.
Mm-hmm.
7 was kind of the first game to shirk that a little bit
Okay.
and kind of go its own way. So that just made it more iconic because it was the first Final Fantasy that didn't have the baseline. See, Jeff Ray's writing it, and I know exactly what it means.
So yeah, I really enjoyed that scene, and then getting to the spider fight, whatever you want to call it, that was fun. Just like, because this game it doesn't do the turn-based thing like original does, which I have nothing against turn-based, but obviously this feels more action-y. So like,
Sure,
it was fun. It was cool to do. And then I kind of took a break on it, just didn't hop back into it. But then I did, and I started back over because like, it's been a little time. I'll do it again. So did that. I saw the whole bombing thing that you talked about, and I mentioned before, like, that hit me like, oh, this is a cool way we're turning it, because I didn't know it was completely different. I just didn't know in general story-wise, because I knew we're terrorist group kind of thing. Like, I just assumed things were going to go bad. And then seeing this little twist of like, they're going to frame you, I was like, oh, okay. It made me go like question mark little thing above my head at first when he's like, okay, just do it. And then the guy hit it, and then all the lasers pop up, and I was like, why are we doing this? Okay. And then we get outside, and then seeing everybody's reaction, I was like, aha, okay, now I get it.
Well, and even to that real quick, like, what's weird is the result is the same in both games.
Okay.
Like, that place goes up and there's fire in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that, the result is the same. It's just by flipping the context for the player, where the player now knows that Shinra made it worse. I think that just kind of added a little weight to it in a way that it didn't have in the original game.
Gotcha. Do the characters still react the same, like, oh shit, we did this kind of thing, or are they okay, they do. So they still kind of regret their actions. Okay, gotcha.
Like, they don't give it the same level of gravity. But I think that's more just a relic of its time more than anything.
Okay.
Like, there are definitely points where you can talk to characters and they're like, we did this, like there's a moment, but it's not lended the weight like it is in Remake.
Gotcha. So yeah, in that first actual session that I was playing there, I think I stopped right as soon as you got out of the train and like got to the city where people were reacting. I took a little time in between before I picked it up again. And I played this past weekend. I played from that point up until where I am now in chapter 5. And I was just taking it in. I was like, yes, give me more. Just go going. And I planned on playing more, but I was just like, I was tired. I was like, nah, I'm good. So the stuff with Aerith, I thought was interesting, the smoke monster things, because I was like, okay, maybe this has something to do with her, because I don't know much about her character either, besides obviously Kingdom Hearts. So I was like, all right, question mark. The way that Sephiroth was introduced, once again, only know from Kingdom Hearts, and I know he's a fuck. Just like impossible. So I was like, okay, cool character, interested to learn more what is actually going on with him. So I think so far, story-wise and how the gameplay is, I'm really enjoying it. I didn't think about it before, but obviously with you now bringing up the Kingdom Hearts type S characters that weren't involved, like, I can definitely see it now. I really dug those parts.
Which, yeah, like, they're not bad. It's just that I don't like the thing with the ghost things was
Mm-hmm.
weird to me because I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
how does this fit anything?
Mm-hmm.
And it's explained, but it feels Kingdom Heartsy,
Mm-hmm.
which again, it fits into the what Remake does.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And even the same thing with Roche. Like, Roche is a soldier first class, same rank as what Cloud is.
Yeah.
So he's a incredibly strong soldier person. So like he fits. It's just the way he acts is
Mm-hmm.
so wildly. He's being flashy for no reason.
Yeah.
Like if you think about the Turks, if you think about Reno and Rude, have you run into them at all yet?
They've been in trailers, right? But no, I haven't run into them.
Okay, you're not familiar with Reno and Rude.
No. Is that the red-haired gentleman and the bald guy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. When you get to them,
Yeah.
what you're gonna notice is like they are cool, but it's not because they're like strip pole dancing off a helicopter, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, that they just are cool
Yeah.
because they're strong
Their
characters.
presence, yeah.
Like that's the sort of thing that I like and I want out of this game series going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Is like I don't care that there's new characters. There should be new characters. The way they're doing things, that's gonna happen. But don't make it so when you like look at the existing characters and the new characters, they feel like they're from different worlds.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that feels weird to me.
Okay. So yeah, the I think Roche specifically was what honestly I enjoyed.
Sure.
Like that whole motorcycle sequence.
Oh, I love
The
the sequence.
music
Sequence is
kicked in
great.
and you're fighting him. I was like, oh my god, this
Yep.
is badass. And I think I texted Lady right after. I was like, I just got done with this epic motorcycle fight. This is sweet. So there was that, and then the whole warehouse sequence before he's involved, and then when he's involved, fighting him and fighting all the people. That felt like this is epic because you have all these people you're fending off with Wedge, with the other guy, blanking on it.
Biggs.
Thank you. Biggs and Wedge. The whole sequence there, and then summoning Ifrit for the first time. Like, Ifrit was the homie in advance, and he was so cool, and then seeing him here is like, oh, this is great. And I like how he just does his own thing, too. Like, that's awesome. Just kick some shit.
Exists as a party member and does his own thing and wrecks shop the whole time. It's great.
Yeah.
The way they do the summons is very smart. I like that a lot. It
Yeah.
fits the gameplay really well, as opposed to just being a huge magic spell.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Everything's just felt like really engaging. Like, it's not something that feels like some games, like, it feels like, okay, I've been playing this for a while. Like, it hasn't felt like that. No. And I mentioned with the whole Jesse thing, like, I enjoyed learning more about this character, and like, I don't know if it's just me, I'm a big Jesse fan, but I was like, yeah, give me more. What do you got from her?
Well, this game has made me a Jesse fan. Like, Jesse is a character that you don't see a whole lot of after Midgar and the original, and I didn't really care because they didn't characterize her almost at all in the original game. So like now it's to the point where it's like there's the triangle. You've got Tifa, Aerith, and you've got Jesse now. Like, right. Jesse wasn't even a part of the conversation before. So like her character, all of her new characterization is great. I like Biggs. I like Wedge.
Yeah.
Like, all of them fit
for sure
just so well. Like they did such a good job of taking some of those ancillary characters that existed and giving you reasons that you should care about them. And giving them more agency in the story.
Mr. Sailor, what?
He likes Mr. Sailor Moon?
I'm confused. Jeff?
I am too. Explain yourself, Jeff.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's been a fun ride so far.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. He's talking. The voice actor for Barrett plays some character in
Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon
Oh, does he?
S, I think, or SS, one of the two.
Okay.
That's like just the polar opposite of Barrett.
Oh, is he?
It's pretty crazy. I didn't. Jeff is the one who pointed that out to me, and it was a mind like a real mind fuck for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, the only voice actor I recognize is Wedge. Like, it's not anybody I
Yeah,
know by name, but I like know the guy. I'm like, oh, it's that guy.
he has a role in what is it, Breaking Bad?
I don't know. I haven't seen
I
that.
think. I don't remember.
Yeah,
All,
but
all I know is that in like two of my group chats with some of my friends, they're like, I can't even look at him as Wedge. He's the character from
so and so or whatever.
whatever
Yeah.
property. Yeah, like I don't remember what it is exactly, but
But yeah,
yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
it's an incredible game. I would be very interested to hear specifically your thoughts at the end
Okay.
when you're done,
Okay.
because they're going to be very different from what I think and what like some of my friends who've also played Final Fantasy VII before.
Right.
Like I got into a like 2.5 hour conversation with just two friends, like not recorded, just like
Yeah.
people trying to make sense of their lives
Mm-hmm.
because of how things are different and how things are the same. It's it's a real wild ride.
Cool.
And what I'm going to tell you an interesting bit here too. The spot that you're at in chapter 5,
Yep.
if you would have taken that same amount of time and put it into the original Final Fantasy 7,
Yeah.
you would be done with Midgar.
Really. Wow.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was.
Midgar is short.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that short.
Like original Final Fantasy 7, you go on the initial bombing run,
Uh-huh.
you go back to the hideout, a little bit of dialogue, flashback with Cloud and Tifa making the promise,
Yeah.
and then the next morning you go to the next bombing run,
Okay.
and like that's it.
Huh.
After that bombing run, it's a couple other things that I won't talk about because you don't know about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like honestly, like the amount of time that you've put into the game already is enough to be out of Midgar.
Wow. Okay.
So they've super stretched
Yeah.
out the events of Midgar.
Yeah. Because obviously this game's only Midgar, and then they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that's all I know is like there's Midgar. There's stuff outside. I don't know what goes on outside, but there's outside stuff. You get on a chocobo, you do some chocobo races. I don't know. There's some shit
So,
like that.
do you know any of the big story beats from
So
original Final Fantasy VII?
I mean, I guess the biggest because there's no way you could have avoided it. But I
Okay.
know Aerith's fate. That's
Okay.
all. I don't know how specifically. I just know that thing happens.
Interesting.
I think it's big bad, but like I know there's a scene where he's coming out of this water pool where he's shirtless. I don't know if that's the same scene. I don't know, but I know her fate, so I know that. But other than that, no.
The other interesting thing I'm gonna put into your brain so that you're thinking about it as you're playing.
Okay.
At no point during original Final Fantasy VII do you ever see Sephiroth.
Wait, say that again.
At no point during the original Final Fantasy VII, while you're in Midgar,
Oh, okay.
do you see Sephiroth.
Right. Okay.
I may have left out the while you're in Midgar.
Okay, I was gonna say what?
He's not even in the game.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I think I remember hearing people saying that was added, which
Yeah.
I kind of like.
The-
but obviously, nothing.
The thought process that I guess they were going with is when they were originally making 7, they wanted Sephiroth to feel kind of like Jaws.
Okay.
He was always present,
But you didn't see him all that much.
but you never always saw him. And when he showed up, he was doing something.
Gotcha.
He was eating the boat. He was pulling somebody underwater.
Gotcha.
This
New character.
yeah, brand new. He's actually from Kingdom Hearts. They just
Yep.
loved him so much that they're like, let's put him in 7 Remake.
Yep.
Yeah, no, like that was how they wanted to treat him in the original game.
Okay.
And then for Remake, they're like, well, we can't not show Sephiroth throughout the entirety of the game. Like that would be weird. So they obviously threw him in, which you've already
experienced a little bit.
had the pleasure.
Yeah.
He's a scary guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think after I finish it up, similar to what you did, I want to go back and play original. Like I've had it on my PS3 since they did that first announcement, and just oops, haven't played it. So I think I'll do that as well. But yeah, for sure we'll have to talk about it again. So it seems like we already got 2 topics planned out for our next one-on-one. We got Final Fantasy VII Remake, the talk, and then what was it, My Hero, or was it something else that we're gonna chat about?
I mean, I gave you a long list. I hope you're gonna have to go back into the
True, all those amazing to follow up on. But cool.
That'll just be my standing topic for every time I swing by.
Check this out. Then give me your feedback.
Watch these.
Here's your homework. Come back to me when you're done.
Oh my god, you're gonna hate it when I'm on this show.
No.
God, I don't have this much time, Brent. Go away.
Oh boy. So I guess to close it out, is there anything? Are you excited for more of Remake in general?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like, knowing what I know, I'm ready for anything.
Okay. Ready for anything.
And I don't care what it is. I don't like whatever they do from here. I'm here for it. And I'm as ready as I'm ever gonna be.
All right. Cool.
Sounds like they're gonna be doing some weird stuff with how they're releasing that game going forward.
Yeah.
They're already a good chunk of the way into the next one, apparently.
Okay, that's good.
They've also said that like they may release like smaller pieces just so they can like keep putting stuff out.
Okay.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that looks like at all, but that's kind of what they made it sound like in a Famitsu interview or something that I read.
Okay. Cool. Well, everybody, this has been another episode of the Wait What We Talking About podcast, episode 68. I hope you guys had a good time with the podcast today. Remember, you can catch it live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every first and third Saturday of the month, unless we pre-record. But you can check it out, join in the chat like Jeff and Lady did today. We'd love to have you guys in on the conversation with us. Just makes it more fun, more things to talk about. If you can't catch it live, you can always catch it over on youtube.com or SoundCloud. Search Enigma911, and it's put over there the following Friday as one big video and MP3 for your amusement. If you ever have a topic for us to discuss, just put it in the comment section down below, and we'll try our best to get to it as well. Remember, guys, you can get all of your merch over there at the merch store. You can get all of your swag, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us. It would be greatly appreciated. And then last but not least, remember, guys, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, you get one free Twitch sub every month. The only bad thing is you have to resub on your own manually, but you can give it to cool creators like me, Brent, or Jeff. Support us, help us out. Makes us feel good and all warm inside, but you should go do that. If you're not using your sub, what are you doing? You're wasting Amazon. Well, you're wasting your money and just having Amazon hold on to it, so don't do that. They have enough, as Lady said.
Make Jeff Bezos pay for our lunches.
There you go. That's it. Brent, thank you for being on the show once again today. I do appreciate it.
Anytime. I had a blast.
Awesome. So I got my homework, and we'll figure out when we're getting Brent back on the show to talk about those things. So stay tuned, everybody. And once again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.